Welcome in. It is day 284, and you're speaking with the Meeples Champion. And today we're going over another game I got at PAX East. Now, this game I actually got from the booth Japanime, and they actually gave me the game for free and requested I do a review. Well, I finally had a little time to sit down and learn the game, and I'm excited to bring it out for you today. The game is called Demon Worker. Now, Demon Worker is a 4-player game. And this was a game I had heard about in the past, and I had actually was excited to try it. So when they came across me, I was already looking at the game, kind of interested, but I was trying to figure out price-wise. Japanime was running a really cool raffle that every day, if you bought $60 or more worth of games, for every $60 you bought, you would get a raffle ticket. And if it wasn't pulled on day 1, it would drift over to day 2 and day 3 and day 4. And it paid out for me, as I, on the final day, actually won their big raffle on the 4th day. However, this did not count towards those raffle tickets. It was a free game, therefore obviously didn't count towards that pricing. I was trying to pick it out at the time and see if I could team something up to just get to 60 that I was actually interested in and not just buy a game just to buy a game. Well, I was excited to get this one out and finally get to play it. Now, the concept of the game is very simple. There is a scoring area, which shows the 5 rounds you consist in. You have 11 spots you can go to, and you start the game off each with 2 workers, which when you look at them, they're blue backed for their workers, backside. The front says humans. Then there's another area that says demon workers on the back as well, that's in red, and everything on the other side is demon workers. Now at the start of the game, you shuffle this up, you deal out 6 to everybody, and the way the game works is you pick one, you put it down, you pass the rest to your side. You keep doing this until everybody now has their 6 unique workers. Then you're going to get your player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, and that'll come with, depending on your position, different resources you begin with. And now for the game, what your turn will consist of is you take everything on your turn and the next person goes. So for your turn, you'll go, okay, I'm going to use this resources to pay to let this worker go to this location. Now because he's there, I get this from the worker, and now I get this from the location. And then you get different resources back, basically. It should always pay out, obviously, stronger. Then, if you can summon a worker from your hand, you use the things to summon them. Once summoned, they go to the floor, but they are not used yet. You have to wait. Once all of your turns have been done, you then clean up, and all the workers who you used prior are still there, and the ones you summoned before are there, and now you place a piece to represent that they're active on top of each one. Meaning anybody that you summoned the prior turn is now active. So now they also can be sent out. You're going to play this through until 5 rounds are done. Now during this, it costs money to put out a worker, food. But it also costs food because if you put them into a spot with somebody else, it's going to be additional food for every other worker that is there. So you have to be careful about when you place and where you place. You're also getting at the start of the game 2 cards. You're going to pick one to keep that's going to give you a secret objective. Now at the end of the game, you're going to get paid out based on 3 different factors. First is, how many workers did you summon? If you were able to summon at least 5 of your workers, you get 5 points. And if you got all 6 down, you actually get that doubled to 10. Then, depending on what your secret objective was, it's going to have resources to be paid to it. And out of all the final resources you collected, this is where you start having to figure out how you're going to allocate those resources. You can pay them to get that ability, basically get the secret objective. However, you can also pay each of your workers one final time for what their resources were, and each worker that you do will score their victory points. So you might want to score your secret objective, or you might say, well, if I do that, it's going to pull specific resources that's going to make it so I can't score any worker. But if I ignore the secret objective, maybe you can score 3 of your workers. You can only score those that are active. If you did not summon them, they're not able to use those. But you might find that, well, the secret objective was worth, say, 9, but I've got 4 3-point workers that I could afford to pay if I don't do that. Whereas if I do it, I can't do any of them. So you figure out how to allocate the resources, and you figure out what your final points are. And there's your winner. Well, we talked enough about the game itself. Why don't we jump in and talk our 7 categories and see where this game lands for us. When it comes to the art, this is not your standard art. It's not something that may grab everybody, but I've been interested in the game for years because of the art. It always grabbed me when I'd be on Board Game Geek, or if I'd be watching a countdown on the Dice Tower and I'd see somebody pick this game and I'd see the box. It always grabbed my attention. And I think the inside of the box does just as well of an art setup. It feels very stylistic and different, and I really like it. It's a thumbs up. Your components. Now, your components kind of drift a little back and forth. In general, they're great. I love the cards. I think that the representatives for your different resources in cardboard are fine. I think that the pieces for counting your worker on the board being in wood is fine. There is who your special person is, whoever it is that you're going to represent, and they are kind of just a piece of paper. It's a, piece of magazine type paper. It's fine though. I wish it was better, but it's not something that is going to be as important to me when you're looking at all these resources. That's the least important piece to me, so I'm not worrying about that. Yes, it is an easy piece to rip, so you have to be careful. Don't let your kids get in this game if they're going to be a little bit rough, because that will rip easily. But I feel all the other resources are good enough that they offset this one little piece that annoys me. So I'll give it a thumbs up. Your price. This comes in at $35. It's a game that's available. I think that it's a game that you're going to be able to have beginners, advanced, experienced and expert players like. I don't know if kids are going to get into it because it might be a little bit tough for them to point it out, but they might like the theme. They may or they may not. But I think that it's well enough there. Price-wise, I would get it. So, thumbs up. Right back into that difficulty. So again, I don't know if this hits for the kids, but I think beginners can enjoy it. I think experience can enjoy it, and I think even experts look at this game and can realize, oh, this has expert play in it. Make sure you're playing with people of your level, but it's there. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Replayability. So the replayability is that this game doesn't take that long. It's going to be under an hour. So I don't know if I want to play this back to back, but I think I can play this easily on once a month. And I think that this is a game that does stand alone in, I'm not going to have something else I'd want to play that's like it. So for me, the replayability's there. Thumbs up. Keys to victory. It's all up to how you target it. Maybe you see a way to get that fifth worker out. But maybe you also realize, if I get the fifth worker out, there's no way I'm going to be able to score for both my current active workers and my secret objective. But it's worth me sacrificing those 5 points and instead just building up the resources for the next 2 rounds, because instead I could pay to get all my workers scored and my secret objective, and all that's going to offset the 5 or 10 points I was going to get, depending on if you got 5th or 6th guy out. So it's up to you figuring that out, but there are so many different ways to think this out as you go. I think early game is optional as to what direction you want to go, and late game is going to give you some routes to what you're thinking could score well. Thumbs up. Is it unique? I mean, I don't know that there's a game that stood out in a while quite like this. I can't really put this next to another game. Its theme is unique. Its setup of how you're scoring is unique. Its setup of how you have to pay to get people on the board feels unique. I think they do a very good job here. It is unique. Thumbs up. Overall, what do I think? I think it's a fun little game. Is it one that I'm going to say everybody's going to love? Absolutely not. I think this isn't necessarily niche, but it's not a widespread appeal. That being said, those who do get into it, I think will love the game. I think that it's going to stand out in your collection. I think it's going to be one that you're going to be really excited when you find a couple friends who like it, because it's one you want to get out to the table more often. So if you have a chance to play, I highly recommend to try it. And if you do like it, I say pick it up and put it in your collection, but don't rush. It may not be one that hits for you, and I don't know that this is going to hit for more than, I'd say it's a 50-50 chance. I'd say for those of you who watch my channel and like the games I like, 50-50 chance, because this is not a guarantee hit, but it is really good. Well, it has been day 284, and we've been speaking about the game Demon Worker, and you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description. I'll be adding in an Amazon link in case you want to get this game for your collection. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.